You guys requested in yesterday's video that I talk more about the S augment factors, but make it more DPS oriented. And so that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. But first of all, if you're new to the channel, I upload PSO2 content daily. So if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So as usual, we're coming back to the Visiphone website and we are going under the S grade augments. And this time for our S1 ability, we're going to go for a more offensive one. So we're going to scroll down right here and it's going to take S1 Petal Gleam. This actually isn't that expensive nowadays. You can get it for around 200,000 on the player market on ship 2 because that's how much I paid for mine. And this increases your power by 3% for 30 seconds after inflicting 450,000 damage. So on my Braver as well as my hero, this is very easy to pull off because you have 30 seconds to deal 450,000 damage. This should not be very difficult, especially if you have an Atlas EX weapon. Now the thing about Petal Gleam is this 30 seconds can be refreshed constantly. It cannot stack on each other unfortunately, but it refreshes. So every time you deal 450,000 damage, it will reset the timer over here. So for example, you deal 450,000 damage, you now have 30 seconds of this increased power of 3%. Now let's say 10 seconds later, you deal another 450,000 damage. It will refresh the timer. So instead of having 20 seconds left of this 3%, it'll go back to 30 seconds. So as long as you can constantly deal 450,000 damage every 30 seconds, you're always going to have Petal Gleam activated, which increases your power by 3%. And as I showcased in yesterday's video, if you have Petal Gleam activated, you can have your S2, S3, S4, all these other abilities synergize with your Gleam ability of choice. So in yesterday's video, we used C Gleam, which was we had to take damage, but this time we're going pure DPS. So we are sticking with Petal Gleam. So let's move on to our S2 ability. So you have a lot of choices for your S2 ability. If you have a very low critical hit chance, then you might want to consider going Petal C Adept, which gives you 20% hit rate increase whenever Petal Gleam, C Gleam, or Snow Gleam is active. And since Petal Gleam is active all the time, you're essentially getting a 20% critical hit chance increase permanently all the time. So if your critical hit rate is very low or you want to just have more crit rate, then this is something that you could think about. Petal C Descent as well as Petal C Descent 2 is alright, it just reduces the PP consumption. I don't think this is very good. However, since we're going with the whole theme of just maximizing DPS, I would go with the S2 Will of Petal C. So while Petal Gleam, C Gleam, and Snow Gleam are active, attack power is increased by 3%. So just by having your S1 ability and your S2 ability, you have a 6% DPS increase already. So now I know some of you guys are going to question me and go, why not go Rainbow Will over Will of Petal C? Since Will of Petal C only gives us attack power increase by 3%, while Rainbow Will gives us an attack power increase of 5%. And the reason is because Rainbow Will has an internal cooldown of 35 seconds, and we don't want to have any downtime. We want to have maximum DPS all the time. And that's why we would rather go with the 3%, which is 2% lower, but this is active all the time. And Will of Petal C is not that expensive as well. You can find a weapon with this for relatively cheap. I believe I spent around 200,000 for this as well. Alright, next up is our S3 ability. Here is where things get a little bit tricky depending on your playstyle. Now, Persistent Fury is very strong. Increases attack power by 4%, critical rate by 5%, as well as enhances PP efficiency as the following: gives you more PP recovery plus 10%, active PP recovery plus 15%, and PP consumption minus 5%. This is all in just one S3. It is super duper strong. However, there is one downside, and that is you cannot take damage. The moment you take damage, you lose all of these benefits, and there's a cooldown of 3 minutes. So Persistent Fury is great if you're a really good player and you never get hit, or maybe you are a ranged character and you never get hit, then Persistent Fury is something that you can think about. However, in my case, since I main melee classes, I like to play the Braver as well as the hero, I'm always up close and personal, which means I am more likely to be hit, and if I do get hit, I will lose all of these benefits for 3 minutes, which is why I personally do not use Persistent Fury. However, again, if you are a ranged character or you're just really good at the game, this is probably something something that you want to consider. What I personally want to pick up is Petal C Song or Petal C Song 2. Unfortunately, Petal C Song is extremely expensive right now. It's around 50 to 75 million on the market, so unless you farm it yourself, chances of you getting this is extremely low. However, what this does is whenever you have Petal Gleam, Sea Gleam, or Snow Gleam active, your attack power increases every second and maxes out at 5% after 37.5 seconds. So now some people might be like, wow, that takes so long to ramp up. Well, the thing is, once it's ramped up at 5%, since you never drop Petal Gleam, you effectively have this extra 5% damage increase permanently. So just from your S1, S2, S3 added together, that is 11% DPS increase just from these 3 S abilities. Now when Divide quests come out and you go the extra mile to get Petal C Song 2, what's going to happen is when Petal Gleam, Sea Gleam, or Snow Gleam are active, attack power increases every second and maxes out at 7% after 15 seconds. So this activates a lot quicker than Petal C Song, and it also gives you 7%, which is 2% more than the regular one. So this is extremely powerful. If you have this, just your S1, S2, S3 is going to give you 13% damage increase, which is pretty big. So this is definitely going to be my first choice if you can get it. Unfortunately, you can't get this yet, so you're going to have to settle with this for now. But this is extremely expensive at the moment. Now, Luminous Rainbow as well as Lustrous Rainbow are also very good choices. However, again, they are currently not available until we get the Divide quest. So Luminous Rainbow increases your natural PP recovery. So this simply just means when you're not hitting anything, the natural PP regen will be increased by 40%, while Lustrous Rainbow over here is your active PP recovery will increase by 45%. So this is the amount of PP you get every time you hit an enemy. This will increase by 45%. These two are good choices as well if you play a PP heavy class. However, what I personally went for is S3 Time Flow Metal over here, which is Shifta is automatically cast every 14 seconds. So this is currently available. It's not that expensive. It's around 1.2 million on the market for the capsule, and it just automatically casts Shifta every 14 seconds. And the Shifta it casts will be based on the current level of Shifta that you have learned. So if you've learned a level 17 Shifta, it will cast a level 17 Shifta every 14 seconds. Now, if you do play a Techer and you have the party support, it will also apply Shifta to all of your other party members. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of text over here, but you can read it for yourself if you want. And last but not least is the S4 abilities. Unfortunately, the S4 abilities don't really give you much choice. You can either get some HP recovery or some PP consumption reduction, but that's about it. So what I decided to do was stick with S4 Lifesteal Strike over here, which recovers my HP equal to 1% of my damage dealt. It caps out at 30 HP. So over here you can see my hero, and the weapon that I'm using is the Atlas EX sword. Now my sword over here does not have anything fancy. You can see it's only 6 slots. It's got Astral Soul as well as Spirit 6. However, getting Astral Soul is very easy now, especially if you're not going for 8 slots. And as for my S abilities, I have Aggressive Will as my S1, increases damage by 2%. I got Lustrous Strike, which increases my PP recovery by 17%. I've got Time Flow Vitality, and I've got Lifesteal Strike. So the only thing that I'm going to be keeping over here is going to be my Lifesteal Strike, which is my S4 ability, my Spirit 6, as well as Astral Soul. And then as for S1, S2, and S3, I will be replacing them. And you can see over here, I have a Val Owls. I just bought this off the market, mainly because it has S2 Will of the Petal Sea, which I'll be ripping off and putting it into my Atlas weapon. And here's another Val weapon, which I bought mainly because it had Petal Gleam. And then I just slotted in the Time Flow Metal by myself so that it also has this. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to be ripping all of these S abilities off these weapons. I'm going to be putting them all onto my Atlas EX weapon. So the procedure is very simple. We're simply going to talk to Monica or Dudu. We're going to go to Transfer S Grade Augments, and we're going to select our base weapon, which is our Atlas EX weapon, and we'll select the Val weapon first, or I guess they're both Vals, well, the Owl weapon first. So over here, it does not matter which S1 ability I pick because I'll be replacing that soon, but the S2 ability does matter. I want the Will of the Petal Sea. I'll take Time Flow Vitality, Lifesteal, Spirit, blah blah, right? So you can see here, the only thing that I cared about was my S2 ability, because this will give me the 3% damage increase whenever I have Petal Gleam active, and I wanted the Lifesteal, of course, and then my Spirit 6 and Astral Soul. These will not change. Next item, and the next item, I'm just going to fill it up. And you can see right there that I did not lose the S abilities. I simply just swapped the S abilities on these weapons. and I also don't down slot. So boom, that's done. And now for the last step, let's take the Atlas EX weapon again. And this time we're going to be putting in this Val weapon so that we can take the Petal Gleam as well as Time Flow Metal from it. And yes, so S1 is Petal Gleam, S2 is going to be Will of the Petal Sea, S3 is going to be Time Flow Metal, and S4 is going to be Lifesteal Strike, and then Spirit 6 Astral Soul. Boom. And then my trash weapon's just going to have everything, whatever this was, and we're just going to throw everything there. And again, it's going to cost money, so please do keep that in mind that it is pretty expensive. This is 1.4 million just to transfer these things. And boom. And voila, you can see here is my final product. I have Petal Gleam, so every time I deal 450,000 damage, it will activate Petal Gleam. I get the 3% extra damage. Once Petal Gleam is activated, this also activates my S2, which is Will of the Petal Sea, which gives me another 3%. So that'll be 6% DPS increase right there. Then I have the S3 Time Flow Metal, which is every 14 seconds, so automatically cast Shifter, which will increase my power stat. Then I've got S4 Lifesteal Strike, which will just give me some sustainability. Alright, now that we've made our weapon, next step is to actually do the DPS check. So we're actually going to go on to our training and actually go hit some stuff. So we're going to go practice quest, damage calculation, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So first of all, I want to show you my stats before I go in. So we can see right here that I have 3,791 melee power because I do have the attack up level 8, which is the Alliance tree buff, and that's why my melee power is a little bit higher than normal. Next thing I'm going to be doing is I will be taking a Shifter drink, so attack up large, as you can see right there. And now let's take a look at my stats again. My stats is 4,333. All right, so remember this number because the moment we jump down, my character will cast Shifter automatically, and you're gonna see her melee stat increase. Boom, right there, you see? So now I can go to character info, and you'll see that I have 4,644 melee power. So as I said earlier, on paper it doesn't look that powerful, but in practicality, this is a pretty big deal. Because on my old weapon, I was nowhere near this melee attack power, but now because of these S abilities, I am pretty dang strong. And so in the first test, I just want to show you how you know when Petal Gleam is active or not. There's a very easy visual cue to show you that it is active. So, you know, we're just going to do some random DPS just to get it activated. And boom. You see how I have this red aura around me? That simply means that it's activated. So within that, like, what, 3 seconds, I was able to do 450,000 damage and immediately get this aura around me. And now last but not least, I just want to prove to people that the Petal Gleam will always stay active as long as you can keep up the 450,000 damage. And yeah, we're just going to do a free mode. I'm just going to keep hitting the boss, and you're just going to see that my buff is always going to be active. So we're just keep attacking, and then I'm just going to do this for like, I don't know, a minute? Sure, we'll do it for a minute. And you're just going to see that I constantly have this red aura around me. It's never going to go away. Alright, that's been a minute. So you can see that this aura has not left. I've constantly got this aura. And yeah, it's just never going to leave because I'm just constantly attacking, constantly hitting that 450,000 damage before the 30-second timer is up, so it just constantly refreshes, and because it's refreshing, I constantly get that 6% damage increase, which stacks on top because I have the Shifter and I've got all these other stats. When it's almost running out, it'll sparkle like this. So when it starts sparkling like that, it means it's fizzing away and you need to deal damage faster. But to be perfectly honest, it is not that difficult to maintain 450,000 damage every 30 seconds. It's actually really, really easy, especially if you have an Atlas EX weapon, because the freaking weapon gives you so much power already. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in today's video. I just wanted to let you guys know that, hey, if you did buy these S-grade augments, that they are not wasted, because you can simply transfer them to another weapon whenever you want. It's super straightforward. Sure, it does cost a little bit of meseta, like 1.2 million, 1.4 million to transfer them, but at least you don't have to go through the entire painful process of augmenting. You simply just click whatever you want and boop, 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 and you just place it there. So even though I don't have that perfect best in slot S3, the one that increases my damage by 7%, it's okay because when I do get that eventually, I'll be able to swap out my S3 time flow medal for my new one. And then let's say that there's a new S4 that comes out that's even better than Lifesteal Strike or something that increases my power even further, I can always swap that out as well. And that is the power of S-grade augments, where you're able to just mix and match and swap things out really, really easily, and you don't feel like you've wasted all your Meseta and gained nothing. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.
What can I say except you're welcome?